Martial Hour Podcast, a podcast for sewists by sewists. I'm your host, Audra.
And I'm your host, Bethany. And today we have another guest with us that I'm so excited for you guys to meet. This is Adam Rateliff. Hi, Adam.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to see you again. Just for a little fun facts, Adam and I met halfway around the world earlier this year when we were in Sydney, Australia, both working at the same event. And we hit it off and spent a lot of time together with Adam and your partner, Ben. And so we had so much fun. We had some fun adventures. But now I get to learn even more about you here on our podcast. And I'm just so glad that you're here and we're getting to do this together.
I'm very excited. I was just talking about the trip because those spiders during our hike. And I was like, oh, yeah, I took off running.
I stopped and took pictures with Ben. And then I was like, why did I take those pictures? Because I'm going to scroll back through my memories and then see that. Right. But I took them so I could show my son. But I was like, I should just go back and delete those. They're terrifying. They were huge.
Spiders in Australia are no joke. I was in Australia when I was in high school, and like they are sizable.
Yeah.
And we didn't notice them. And then all of a sudden, like there's one and we're taking pictures. But then there's 50 that we just didn't see.
And makes you kind of wonder how many did we miss the last 5 kilometers we were just hiking along the beach, because there's some pretty like tight spots and everything. But I will say we never like physically encountered them. Like they just kind of were in their space and we were in our walking path and we didn't have to get too close. But yeah, they're sneaky. Yeah. They're sneaky. So we had a lot of fun and we'll talk some more about that. But before we dive into our fun conversation today with Adam, we always kick off with an icebreaker question. And this week's question is, if you could instantly be amazing at any non-sewing skill or hobby, what would it be and why?
Okay, so I'm going to say reading. And not that I can't read, but I'm dyslexic. So when I read, fair. It takes forever. And just like, so Audible's been amazing. Like it's always on. But I enjoy reading. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm still reading this book. It takes forever. And I'm often reading the same page like 7 times because I also am very ADD. So halfway through it, I'm reading it, but I'm thinking about like, oh, I should be sewing. Or, you know.
Or you read a whole page and you're like, what happened? I was somewhere else. I feel like this is why we hit it off. We're going to have that experience throughout did you ever do that thing when you were like in school and you'd have to get a piece of paper or a ruler and like move it down the page line by line so that you wouldn't read the same line 6 times in a row because your eyes or maybe that was just me. I don't know. Like I just really struggled with
slide the paper down.
Yeah. Okay. I feel better now. I wasn't the only one.
It's interesting because I'm letter dyslexic, not number dyslexic, really. And like past life, I was an accountant. So it's weird. But yeah, I just would like to be able to see the word and know that it was right. Ben, I would say something like read street signs and stuff. And Ben's like, that's not what that says. Like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know where you got those words, but I'm like, oh, whatever.
Audra, what is your non-sewing skill or hobby that you would love to be able to just immediately be able to master and do?
Mine would be hand embroidery. It's such a huge, I'm okay-ish at it. I could do it and you'd be like, oh, that's pretty. Like, but I'm not in any way, I have not completed mastery in any way. And I follow all these incredible embroidery artists and the things they make, and it is just breathtaking. If I could be able to just pick up some floss and an embroidery needle and make artwork, I would be so happy. And it just seems so calming because I don't think I'd yell. I don't think I'd yell at it as much as I yell at my machine.
I would say mine would be, and this is going to sound crazy, but singing. I feel like I can sing. I am so scared to sing in front of others because I had a drama teacher who shut me down and made me feel worthless. And I will never forget those moments. I gave it my all to audition to be Annie. And I wanted to be Annie so bad. And my arch nemesis got it. Not really, but Like, I wasn't the favorite. I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, but I also went to a private school. I wasn't like the rich girl, you know, like I just stood out and I just wasn't the stereotype. But I felt like I did a really good job because I sang and performed in all of our church performances and I loved it. And after that, I stopped. It made me question my ability. It made me question, but I will say I have a lot of confidence singing in the shower and in my car. But outside of that, or in my house when no one else is here, but I don't sing in front of others, but I play the piano and like, I love music. And I always dreamt of being like Sarah Bareilles, like playing the piano and singing at the same time, you know, or Lady Gaga, but not the hip hop side. But like, or the pop music side, but you know what I mean? Like that was like, I feel like it's a talent I have that I'll never be able to share publicly because of what someone said to me when I was, you know, in middle school or high school or whenever it was.
But so. I think you need to now.
No,
like, I think like you need to.
You could do it on the podcast.
Yeah, let's no.
Do it on your stories. It goes away after 24 hours. So if it's bad,
that's too long. People can screen record stuff. For me, I feel like if I could just overcome that fear and that little I won't say her name, but I'll never forget her name in the back of my head.
I was wondering if you remembered her name. I know it wasn't a nemesis, but the person I always came second to. I'll never forget his name.
It's the power of words. And I tell this to Charlie all the time. Words are like toothpaste in a tube. You squeeze the toothpaste. Once it comes out, you can't put it back in. So be careful about what you say because you can't take it back.
But I do miss it. And sometimes I wonder if my dogs just tolerate it because they're the ones that hear it the most. But that's mine. And you guys, if you have an answer to this question, we would love to hear it. And so please hop over to our Facebook group, The Social Sewist. Ask to join if you haven't already. I'll approve you. And then you can go comment on this week's episode and let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your answer to this week's icebreaker. But now we're going to jump into getting to know Adam better because as you can probably already tell, ball of energy and so much fun. And so Adam, I mean, I know you and I met earlier this year in person and we were doing all the things running around, but we didn't really get to connect and like get to know each other's backgrounds and like how you got started in sewing and everything. So I know you work in the industry, like Audrey and I also work in the industry. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you got into sewing from accounting, which I didn't know about. So how you got into sewing and how you turned it into your career and what you do in the industry, because there might be people that don't understand what, like, I guess a freelance educator like yourself does or what you do. So explain that to everybody.
I grew up sewing. My mother sewed. I could she still has the sewing machine that grandma bought her when my parents got married 50 years ago. And it's one of the fold out singers out of the table. Like I remember her folding it out, like sitting and watching and stuff. And so I grew up and learned to sew from my mom, like bake and all the stuff. I learned it all. But she doesn't quilt. She always made clothes and costumes, things like that. And Ben and I started dating almost 20 years ago. And he also knew how to sew. His mom would make clothes as well and stuff. Interesting enough, neither one made quilts. And we would make Halloween costumes and that stuff. But he actually got me into quilting. So he came up one day and said, I want to start quilting. And I'm like, great, let's do it. And his mom had given us an old Viking machine. Like I called it the tank because it was metal and it was heavy. And as you were carrying it, if it hit your leg, it sliced it open because the corners were sharp, kind of thing. And it worked great. But he was working as a nurse at the time. I was an accountant at the time. And he said, well, my mom got a new Bernina. I want a Bernina. And I always say that I am the person who, if you want to buy something, come to me because I'm going to say absolutely get it. And the response was, oh, you're a nurse. You make good money. Go buy one. And so we went out and we bought our first machine. And we had it for maybe 2 months and realized, oh, this doesn't really do everything we want it to. So we went out and we traded that one and upgraded. And we were living in Bakersfield, California at the time. We've been all around and took our first class and we're like, oh my gosh, we need a second machine. So I say that's when we became quilters because we started collecting machines. So move on from there. Where I'm quilting. I just really took to it. Loved it. Everything about it. I would work and then come home at night and quilt just to get out of my head. I'm very like go. And interesting enough with ADD, you go everywhere, but then you also hyper focus. So it would be like I would just finish these quilts in a week. They should have taken me a month, kind of thing. And I finished my first big quilt was the Tula Pink Anchors Away, like 622 2-inch squares, and did that. And Ben said, you should take that to a longarm quilter. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? And he said, at the quilt shop, there's that room with that big machine. I'm like, no, what room are you talking about? He goes, well, right next to the cell fabric, there's a door, and there's like not a door there. There's just an archway, and there's a big machine there. And I'm like, I'd never seen it. I'd never looked in that room because I was always shopping the fabric. So like, and I mean, it was a big archway. So took it to the longarm quilter, was amazed. She did a fantastic job. We moved up to Eugene, Oregon. I was telecommuting and still quilting all the time, and joined the Quilt Guild. Made some friends. They had a long arm. They invited me to sewing day. So went to sewing day. They had a long arm. And I'm like, I always say that like, I was probably drooling on myself, just like staring at it. And they're like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, you're the coolest person I know because you have a long arm. And so they let me play on it. And I'm like, if Ben ever comes here, we'll have one, because they had met and everything. And so the next month when I got invited to sewing group, I said, hey, can I bring Ben? I know how to work the system, and the system was Ben. So I brought Ben. They had fabric all loaded for him, and he started stitching on it. 2 weeks later, we had one ordered. So we ordered we got our first long arm. That was back in the day. I started with a handy quilter. So I was like, we'll get the biggest and best, and I'll quilt for the public and stuff. So I started quilting for the public, and I had it for like 2 weeks before I started quilting for people, because I'm like, I have the computer. I can hit start and go. Like, I don't need to do free motion. And fast forward, I got it in October. In December of that year, I submitted to be part of their ad campaign, and they picked me. So in January of 2017, I went back to Handy Quilter. I was on their photo shoots and video shoots and ad campaigns, and I was on their truck until last year. And then fast forward, COVID hit. So, and by then I was going around and I guess I was still working as an accountant. In 2018, I left accounting. Ben's like, you are miserable. You need to like get out of the house. I was still telecommuting. So I started quilting full time and, started educating for Handy Quilter. So 2018 to 2023, I was with them, and I traveled around the nation to teach. And then in 24, I took a little detour. I was working with Laura Star for a year, but I really, really missed teaching. So at the beginning of this year, I started working for Bernina on their events team. So I go around, I teach, I work big events, I work at shows, and I just love to share the joy of longarm quilting. Yeah. And in 2020, I started a YouTube channel, and that's kind of like went crazy. Apparently, I resonate with people. And so everything's under Adam So Fun, SEW. And I share techniques, and I'm very outside of the box. I'm like, if I want the computer to do it, let me show you how I would make it do it. And
you're technically strong in that aspect of like showing that side of long arming, where I feel like a lot of teaching of long arming is very like free motion, which is great, and I think everybody should learn that side of it too. But like, I'm like you, I'm like, I want to learn the technical computer side so I can like design stuff, right? Like that's the other side of it that's really fun.
Right. I'm very much like, yes, I do all that. I'm also just go with the flow. Like it's a quilt. Nobody's going to die if it doesn't look perfect. And, and like my taglines at the end of the day is just quilting, like go have fun, And so, it's been a crazy ride. Like who knew that like my life was just going to take this turn because we bought a long arm? But it's been an amazing ride because I've always wanted to teach. I just thought I would be teaching accounting, debits and credits, not like, let's use the long arm. It's just absolutely amazing.
do you find that your accounting background shows in what you're doing now? Do some of those skills like transfer in how you teach, or does it influence in how you teach or design? Like, is there any correlation?
Well, I keep spreadsheets of thread and fabric. I really miss Excel.
So much.
I am a thread freak. I could talk about thread forever. I have a ton of it. I probably have 1,000 cones of thread. It's ridiculous.
One of our listeners actually commented on a recent video saying, "Can you do an episode about thread?" So I think we may need to have Adam back for that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Or I know a lot of thread people. So if you're like, we're done with you, give us someone else.
We need an objective party.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But what is your off the cuff favorite brand of thread?
Favorite brand is Superior. I do a lot of, but full transparency, I do a lot of things with them. So during COVID, I did some content for them, and instead of getting paid, they paid in thread. I'm like, oh, we'll do a trade, right? So I have a lot of that. And they were a sister company at one time with Handy Quilter, so it made it really easy. Mm-hmm. I'm branching out more, but that's what I have most of because I got paid a lot in COVID. But I am one of those people. It's funny because people will be like, oh, well, you need to use cotton and blah, 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 blah. No, you use whatever you want. Poly thread is so different than what it used to be. With Bernina, we use a lot of Wonderfill and a lot of Metler. So it's fun going out and finding new ones that I like. There's definitely threads out there that are I'm not a fan of, but I'm never going to knock them or tell somebody you shouldn't use that because if it works for them, I am not a quilt police. I am anti-quilt police. If it works for you, don't change it. I'm going to show you the way I like to do it, but that doesn't mean it's the best. It's just, I tend to piece with cotton and then I long arm with poly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause I was always taught that especially for shrink rate, you quilt with cotton if you're making a quilt out of cotton fabric, you quilt with cotton because when you wash it and it shrinks, you want to make sure that everything is in the same vein.
Does that really matter?
I know.
But that's it, right?
Okay, I am the rule follower in this trio. This is mind blowing to me. Now, I will break the rules when I'm bag making. I always will use poly thread, but if I have a cotton thread that matches perfectly, I will absolutely use a cotton thread because it's a bag. Who cares?
Right.
But okay.
That's funny because I'm it's
rule
a quilt.
follower.
Who cares? If it shrinks at a different rate, it's still gonna keep you warm.
True.
Is it enough to measure and notice so your crinkle is weird?
I think the crinkle's always weird.
It is.
Because it's going to crinkle. I mean,
the crinkle's the best part.
Yeah, I mean, so unless you don't want the crinkle, and and then
you don't wash it. You just let it hang for decoration.
So I don't use a lot of poly batting. Oh, Audra, do you use poly batting? Because it's cold up there?
No, I usually use wool or a cotton batting.
Because when I would teach up there, they would use a lot of poly batting because it's cold. Well, I'm in Palm Springs and not cold. Well, it gets cool-ish.
Cool-ish.
But so I always say that, and I just run hot. So I almost always use wool or an 80/20. But if I'm doing anything that's a wall hanging, it's always poly. So, and I can do, I just did a Dream Big panel and used a poly puff. So really puffy poly. And it looks just like I had wool in it, but at a fraction of the cost.
Okay. I feel like I should be taking notes in this episode. I'm going to have to go back. And when we're editing, I'm going to be taking notes. And I'm a rule follower. I own it. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm definitely not one of those.
Who made the rule?
Who made the rule? The quilt police.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I have a question for you. Is there a project or a moment when you realized that long arming was your lane? I know you got the long arm. I know you went in but the moment that you were I'm leaving accounting, is there a moment that you were this makes sense? I'm jumping head first in because there's a lot of people who would be scared to take that leap.
Okay. So funny enough, Ben pushed me off the edge and told me to do it. Because it was tax season, and I was very like miserable at home. It was very hard. So he really came home one day. He's like, I'm scared that you're going to self-harm. Like, you really need to leave your job. And he's like, you should long arm full time. I thought it was a joke. I'm like, am I getting punked? Like, what's going on here? And because I had a really good accounting job. And he's like, you are a lot better than you think. Because I think just naturally everybody is worse in their head than they really are. Unless there's those few people that win awards and get really mad when they don't win because they think they're the best. But I'm definitely not that person. And he's like, okay, go do this. And I would never like free motion on people's quilts because I just wasn't good enough. And I think the day that I was like, oh, I'm good enough to do this, I was actually watching a different longarm quilter on YouTube, and they made a mistake. Like, they stitched into the block, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, stop. And I like rewound it, and I think I was probably like over the top. I know you can't imagine me over the top, but I was probably over the top because Ben was like, what's going on? I'm like, I just need a minute. And then I showed him, like, look what they did. Do you know how much money they get paid? Like, I don't have to be perfect anymore. And that was my aha moment. I don't have to be perfect because they're famous and they are amazing, and I will pay them and take classes from them, but they're not being perfect. So why do I have to? And that was what I try to translate in my teaching, is that people don't have to be perfect. Because it's really funny when they're just like, oh, this looks horrible. The machine's messed up. I had a mother and daughter one time, and the daughter's like, something's wrong with the machine. This looks horrible. And the mom goes, you did it. And so I'm like,
gotta love mom for keeping it real.
Yeah, I go, but you're going to be the computer one, right? Because your mom's going to do free motion. She goes, yeah. I go, great. You're going to love the second half of class.
There you go. You can say you tried it, but we found your lane.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this. You can do this. Right. That's hilarious. Sometimes we just need permission to like take the leap. So maybe I can borrow Ben. He can come hang out with me, help me identify my talents and tell me what I should be doing. Right. Like, sometimes you just need someone to push gently, but like boldly, with confidence. And it's great that he had your support to take that leap, because not knowing where that was going to lead, I mean, you're still new into the industry. Right. So I'm so glad that you took it and that you have that support. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was very lucky.
We are absolutely always our own worst critics, and we're all guilty of it, especially as creatives. Creativity is so subjective. I think we are also so hypercritical of ourselves because we see people out there who are bigger than us. We think, air quote, smarter than us, air quote, like
more
better than us.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, well, and so just like at your moment, Adam, of like, wait, like I'm good. I mean, I can get there. You had mentioned you're still taking, you learn and you take classes. So what do you do to really like keep yourself, push that comfort zone and continue to learn?
Mm-hmm. Well, coming over to the Bernina side of things, and, I have a new core group of people I get to work with and I get to learn from, and a new machine. Like, so things translate kind of, sort of, but not really. For the most part, they do. But, being able to like sit in, like, I love being class support for somebody else, because I'm the person, and I always like, I'm the person, if your thread breaks, if your needle messes up, if anything happens, you call me. Like, they're teaching, leave them alone. But I also get to see somebody else, the way they teach and things that they say, and just little tips that you pull. I still watch YouTube and watch longarm quilters, and if I'm usually working, so I don't get a ton of classes that I get to take, but when we are the class support, it's like you get to take the class even though you're not in it and not stitching. The hardest thing about being in class and teaching is that you don't get to stitch. It's just like, I just want to take those handlebars, but I don't tend to stitch a lot in classes because I don't want people to be oh my gosh, I'll never be that good, or oh my gosh, I can't do that. There's a lot of times where I will drive the machine from the back and just like hold the machine and have the people's hands on the handlebars. And I'm like, this is the motion that we're looking for. And then I'll just let go and be like, have fun. And then, walk off, so that they feel it and they're doing it, but I'm not necessarily get off the machine, let me show you kind of thing.
If you have someone that's afraid to like take that leap or break the rules that they've been taught, or like Audra, like what would your advice be to them?
Harder said than done. People who have that mentality of like, I have to do it this way. It has to look like this and stuff. There's just no hope. No, I just kidding.
You might as well quit now.
It's I try to make things fun and I joke a lot. So at the beginning of class, like I talk about we're all quilters, we're all here. And the first thing that we're going to do when we show off quilts is show the mistakes, you know? And I say, you're not a real quilter unless you point the mistake out, because that's the first thing we do. People look at our quilt and they're, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's amazing. Well, I messed up right here. As I'm going around and I'm looking at people's projects and stuff, one of my jokes is like, I won't judge you out loud, so it's okay. You're in a safe space. And, you know, that always tends to loosen them up. But if they are pointing out mistakes, I'm like, but who cares? Like, you're the only one that sees that. Or I'll say, like, go look at your neighbors. Just to kind of get them to loosen up again. I think once you do it and you realize, oh, this isn't gonna, like, nothing's gonna blow up, it slowly gets a little bit easier. It's hard in like a 3-hour class though.
Yeah. I actually used this analogy in a virtual sewing thing that I did recently. It was like a 3-part series for a big project. And people, it was like their first time piecing, and like we were trying to get these points to line up. And I like shows like, look, here's one of my blocks, and guess what? Not all my points line up, but when you put this whole thing together, nobody's going to see that. And so I think sometimes we just are so close to the project that when we step back, it's really not that noticeable, but in the moment it feels so obvious, right? So the line that I always said is, if you can't notice it while on the back of a horse, galloping horse, you know, riding by this quilt, then it's okay. Like, if you can't notice it, then nobody else, it's not going to be something that is worth like picking apart. I think the only time people compare or think that is because you have people who put quilts in shows, and they have to like pay attention to all of that because they're being judged on their quilt and all of those little details. But most of us are not doing that. And so in that situation, it's like, just have fun and play, and don't get so hyper focused on each little point, because it's the grand scheme of things. When you take a step back and you see it all pieced together, like from a distance, you don't see it. You really don't. And you just kind of have to get out of your way.
Ben quilts too, and he is he's super precise. So he is the person, oh, my points don't match, let me rip it out. And he doesn't quilt as much as I do, but I always laugh because he lost a jelly roll race to my brother, who had never sewn in his life. And
because he was being a perfectionist,
because he was ripping seams because he's like, oh, the 1/4 inch seam wasn't very good. I'm like, it is a jelly roll race, and you are losing the race right now.
Someone who's never sewn.
Someone who's never sewn. We were living in Cleveland during COVID, and my family all came for a week, and I got a jelly roll for everybody, and I got all the machines out because people are like, why do you need all those machines? Well, I might need them one day. So all the machines were out. And everybody who made a quilt left with a quilt finish because we long armed it, and then I bound them all. I hate binding, so that's how much I love my family, is I bound them all. But he's definitely that person. So I have a question for you. Are you pinners?
No.
It depends.
I use clips.
I used to not pin as much. I pin more now, especially just because I do want my points to be nice as much as I can. And so I will always say, yes, I am a pinner. I'm going to own it. I am a pinner.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's, so I did a Judy Niemeyer retreat, and she showed us like a technique of like, oh, don't pin it, just fold it over, see where the like where the 1/4 inch connect would be, and like sew to that point with a stiletto. And I'm like, oh. And since then, like, I just don't pin anymore. It's
like any piecing?
Like, none of this was pinned.
If you're not watching on YouTube and you're listening, he's got a beautiful, very pointy quilt behind him, which he's going to share with us in a little bit. But it's on point.
Yeah, I make it fit because it's just the quilt. It's still going to be warm.
Yeah. And then you're going to quilt it and you're going to wash it. It's going to crinkle and nobody's going to know.
Right.
Yeah, but I like top stitching too. So there's certain things I like to be accurate. If they can be. So
there's sometimes I'll use clips and stuff. For the most part, a good stiletto could be your best friend.
Yeah.
I think we need a tutorial on that.
I only clip where points will line up or seams need to line up, because when I clip, I can open it and still peek and make sure that it's lined up. When I pin, it goes too far in. I can't really make sure that I'm like on point. Right. And I also stab myself a lot, and I don't like that. So.
I'm hand binding a quilt right now, and I'm like pinning it the other day.
Did you see his face?
Yeah, I know. I see the face.
I just
judge me all you want.
Just no judging. No judging.
No, just judge inside.
It's not judging. I just hate binding. But I also feel like I need to hand bind things. So there's this whole like disconnect in my brain.
I have never hand bound anything.
So, well, just for the record, this quilt has been sitting for at least the last year and it needed binding. So it has now taken me a year to get to the point of actually doing it because I dislike it so much. But that being said, the other day I'm over there pinning and I pin so far, there's like a pin sticking out of my finger pad. And I was like, that should hurt more than it does.
You're just numb at this point.
Adam, since this is clearly the Audra's a Rule Follower episode, who is inspiring you right now in the sewing world?
Oh gosh, that would have to be like to take enough time to do it. Okay, so I've been working a lot with Amanda Murphy, and I'm gonna say Amanda because she is like everything I want to be. And it's just like Amanda Murphy as a brand, like, and all the things she has like her hands in. I don't know how she does it. Honestly, I'm like, it's exhausting just watching it. Because where I love teaching and stuff, but I would like to have patterns and like this, that, and the other. So to see somebody doing it, but also like her core is teaching, like, I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Like, I can do this. Am I ever going to have like all the rulers she has and everything? No, but if I have Adam So Fun YouTube channel and some patterns, I'm okay with that. Like, you have to start somewhere.
Goals.
Yeah.
Goals, right?
Start. That feels super attainable for you.
Yeah.
Well, I have this list of patterns to write. I just have to write them.
Okay.
But again, I'm dyslexic, so I hate writing.
This is where you find a sewing, and you're putting it out there. Writing it is the obstacle. Then put it out there and see who raises their hand saying, I actually really enjoy that.
I know some tech writers. I can send you some names.
I know some pattern writers too. And I'm just like, but then I have to get everything done.
Just do it.
So random question, because both of you do videos, right? Kind of. Mm-hmm. Yes. Other than this,
I'm not as much on YouTube. I haven't done a YouTube tutorial yet.
But for work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just finished recording. Oh my gosh. I have an hour and like 15 minutes that the mic went out.
Oh
no.
And I'm going to edit, and I like video 1 comes out. Great. Video 2 comes out, and I'm dropping all my pieces in because I'm a one-man show. It's like me and a tripod, right? And, I'm like, oh no, where's the sound? And I just start dropping everything in because it's like 3 videos, like 2.5 of video content. And I'm like, Ben, there's no sound. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, seriously, I go, this hour is like 6 hours of work. Like, and it was Quilting a Dream Big. So it's like, I don't have another one to just load up. And I was talking about it in my, in a live, because I do lives every week. And one of my followers like, oh, I'll send you one. Like, I have the best followers. They're just like, oh, we have some and blah, blah, blah. She sent me pictures of all the different colors she has. Like, oh, which one? I'm like, no, I think I can just voice over. I think it actually works better in the end user's case, because I'm just like, I cut out like 3 minutes. I don't know what I was doing. and all you were looking at was quilt and my hand doing this. So I must have just been petting it. Like
that's when you just speed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I will say I have had that happen several times. It is traumatizing to say the least.
Right.
Voiceover is your friend. Thankfully, a lot of the tutorial is not your face, right?
Right.
But I've had it happen with like the intro where I'm like going over like the supplies and I'm like, well, I've now used said supplies. So I'm like, well, maybe I can just take a screenshot of like the supplies overhead, which I had from the video. And then I like made that like the image. And then I just talked and I just put text as it popped up. I'm like, you don't see my face. So I was like, okay, well, no. And I just, sometimes you have to record like a new intro or outro, but like that's not so bad. But it is the worst feeling because you're like, I'm done. I can check that off, move on, turn the cameras off, reset the studio, whatever. And then you're like, oh no.
So I already mentally moved on to the next tutorial or project.
Exactly. It's trimmed.
Yeah.
It's trimmed it off the frame. And like the worst part is because I always start and do like a sound lighting check and everything. But it stopped in the middle of one. And then I just went full steam ahead. So I'm like, whatever. It is what it is.
I have a quick question for you though. What would you say has been like the most surprising or like rewarding connection that you've made through sewing? I mean, you've done a lot and you've traveled a lot.
I have a lot of friends in the industry now. But my most rewarding one would be like the best friends that I've made. Like my friend Mickey, I talk to every day. Today is actually her birthday. Happy birthday, Mickey. You're going to see this not on your birthday. You're out with your sisters.
We're recording in advance.
Yeah, right. But I talk to her every day. Like we have trips planned. I work with her, but then like it's been super great. I know, like I've never even met her husband. I feel like I'm part of her family. Because she's in St. Louis and we're here. But when we do like Road to California, she comes out for a few days. I have another friend, Barb, same thing. We all worked together when we were educators with HQ. And it's finding those other educators that you just connect with. Just life can be very mean girl sometimes. So it's nice to find the true friends in that pot of crazy. And I think we're all a little crazy. I think sewists are all a little, if you're going to buy fabric and you're going to cut it up to sew it back together, you're crazy.
Over and over and over again.
Right. We're crazy. I remember doing a Sew Kind of Wonderful, like a quick curve ruler pattern. And I think I started crying because I'm like, why am I cutting this up again? And the quilt came out beautiful, but it was just like, sew it together, cut it up, sew it together, cut it up to sew it together. And they're all curves. Like, what was I thinking?
I was talking to my friend Jennifer the other day. She has a Bernina. It's only 1.5 years old. And she had to have something fixed on it. And she went to pick it up. And the lady didn't realize that she was picking up the machine that she was talking about. And the lady was like, oh my gosh. Because Jennifer's talking about her Bernina a little bit with this lady, and she's like, yeah, we've got one back there that's not even that old. It's got over 4 million stitches on it. And Jennifer gets hers home and looks at the stitch count. She goes, she was talking about my machine. My machine is 1.5 years old, and it has over 4 million stitches on it. And it's been in service a couple of times. And I'm like, you have run that thing.
That's
hard.
crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
My original long arm doesn't have that many stitches on it. I don't know how it doesn't, because like I quilted for the public and I did a lot of tutorials quilting, and I like to stitch like dents on the lawn.
Mine's going in for its spa date here in a couple weeks, and I'm gonna have to see if they can tell me how many stitches are on mine, because my machine is coming up on like 8 years old.
My FOF doesn't have stitch count; it has hours.
Okay.
And it tracks my sewing hours, and it tracks my embroidery hours. And shockingly enough, my embroidery hours are almost as much as my sewing hours. And I don't feel like I do a ton of embroidery, but I think because of the time frame it takes to do embroidery and the amount of time it's stitching with all those tens of thousands of stitches, I think that's why it adds up so fast.
I like the stitch number better. If they tell me hours, then I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a lot of life.
Is it counting hours that it's on or hours?
It's counting hours that it's sewing.
That it's
so
actually
really, it's actually in sewing hours, not that it's actually the machine's turned on, because then mine would be like a lot. But right. it's actual sewing. I do wish it had stitch count too. That would be fun to know. It may on the back end, but it doesn't on my interface. So,
Adam, how do you hope that your work impacts other makers? I know when you're teaching, you want people to enjoy the process and not criticize how they're working or have concerns. But how do you hope it impacts them?
I think my big thing is I want people to realize that it's just quilting and it's fun. It's, that they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to follow rules, that they can do it. More importantly, that they can do it. Cause I think a lot of it is I can't. And that they're just as good as everybody else. I love when I can get that connection. Because of the YouTube channel, I often get noticed when we're out places. And I was just at the quilt shop the other day, and somebody looked around the corner and was like, "Are you?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm Adam So Fun." She goes, "I thought that was you." And then the owner's like, "Just follow the laugh," or like at quilt shows, I'll be laughing and someone will turn around like, "I know that laugh," And I really love to meet followers and things, but it not drives me nuts, but when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're famous," it just embarrasses me, because I don't do it because of that. I do it because I want to help people learn a skill or do something, step outside the box. There's a lot of people who maybe they get the computer and they never try to free motion because the computer will do it. Just step outside the box and do it. Or they don't want a custom quilt with the computer because they're only good at free or edge to edge. It's just, they just are scared of hitting the buttons and stuff. So getting people outside of their comfort zone and them realizing, oh my gosh, this isn't as hard as I thought. I can do this. That's my goal. My goal in making the videos and going out and teaching and everything is just, everybody can do it. They just have to have that person to push them. They need a bin. They need a bin.
They need a bin or an Adam or somebody cheering them on, or a podcast that they can come in and get inspired by our amazing guests. I have a maybe a challenging question for you. Okay. Maybe not. What would you say is a dream project that you haven't tackled yet? Something that you're like, ooh.
I actually can do this. I love paper piecing. And I'm a big Judy Niemeyer fan. Like we got our second machine because of Judy Niemeyer and us fighting over time to finish our Judy quilts. But I've always wanted to do a Jacqueline de Jong. I have a kit. She's another paper piecing. She's from the Netherlands. Ooh. And her quilts are very colorful, a lot of rainbowy like gradients and stuff. Different process. And I have the kit. I just have to do it. I have to find time.
The story of our lives.
Yeah,
finding the time to do it for fun.
Yeah. So hers are a lot of geometric, lots of circles and things. But I think one of her quilts, or like I'd like to be good at needle turn applique. My good friend Mickey, who I call every day, I tried needle turn once and I said, "Look, I finished a little basket," and she goes, "Not good enough. Rip it out. Try it again." And I put it in a drawer. So we still joke about that because she goes, "It really wasn't good." And she's the first to be like, "Oh, yay. It doesn't have to be perfect." And I thought it was so good.
We all start somewhere.
We all start somewhere.
You can only go up from there.
I did one circle one time.
That's a true friend. The brutal honesty that
because you don't get any ideas. You do that to me, I'm gonna cry. So just
you got to know your audience too.
Yeah, right. No. I would like you gentle love, please.
Gentle criticism of like, you tried. It's so
really beautiful, but I think you should stick to all your other hobbies.
Let's try again.
Rapid fire, quick answers, first thing that comes to mind. Favorite fabric print right now?
Oh gosh, right now, I love everything from Tilda.
Can't go wrong with Tilda. Go-to snack in your sewing room?
Oh, anything chocolate?
A sewing notion you can't live without?
A purple thing.
Oh, I have one. I haven't figured out how to use it. Teach me. Dream sewing destination?
We're going to Festival of Quilts next year in Birmingham. No, Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's happening. It's going on right now.
It's like right now.
I know. And I'm seeing people there and I'm so jelly.
Right?
Yeah. Favorite guilty pleasure show or movie to binge while sewing?
Oh gosh. Probably any of the Housewives.
Like a little drama?
Yeah.
Tables tossed.
Right.
Is there a type of sewing you haven't tried that you'd like to learn one day, but maybe you can answer this just
I haven't tried. I would say like to really do like a needle turn applique class.
Yeah.
No. I like a slapplique.
Slapplique.
Use it and forget it.
Yeah. All right. So you survived. That wasn't so bad.
Oh, that was it? Oh gosh.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. We make it a bigger deal than it really is, I promise.
Maybe we should make it more intense.
I know. We should have like background music.
Dim the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Like a Jeopardy.
Jeopardy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to jump into our social spotlight, and this is where we're going to ask you to either highlight a person, a brand, a sewing tool. It could be a fabric line, maybe even something that's trending or a small business that is just like standing out to you that you're just like, I just want to give them a shout out because it's speaking to you.
It's actually the designers of this quilt behind me. They are Lisa and Laura. They are Material Girlfriends. So check them out, materialgirlfriends.com. They do all of these patterns that are 10-inch square friendly. So this was all made from just 10-inch squares. And
a layer cake, essentially.
It's a basically half of one, because usually they do 24 color, 24 solid. I have 3 of their quilts like sitting here, because I just really love their kind of out of the box thinking. They're very like, put your 2 colors together, cut, sew it back together, and now you have your 2 blocks of this and 2 blocks of that, whatever. I don't do scrappy. This is kind of like my first scrappy quilt. I call it my brown bag quilt, because I cut all the pieces and threw them into a shopping bag.
Yeah.
And then pulled them out, and it was like, if you pull it, you sew it.
I like that challenge.
I love that.
It was so hard for me.
Like perfectionism out of it, right? Like you just have to go with the flow.
You just have to go with the flow. Luckily, I mean, it's all Allison Glass, so it's all one of the Sunprint fat quarter bundles I had bought. But usually, like, I'm very much like, oh, we'll have the purple one and you'll have the yellow one. So I just happen to have some other ones. So this is one of their other patterns. So like, I have my blue block and my pink block, and then I have my green block and my other green block. Like, but these 10-inch square patterns that they do, it's just, you have them together. They just go together so quick. Mm-hmm. Like one of the other ones, I think 6 seams, and you had 2 blocks done.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And those are great for like beginners, because you want to kind of get through, like learn the process and like have fun with it and take some of the pressure off, and just, it doesn't have to be so serious, I always say. But then you turn out with something like as beautiful as what's behind you. So if you all are listening and not watching over on our YouTube, you might want to hop over and check out the beautiful quilt that's hanging behind Adam. Yeah. That's lovely.
I'm teaching at my first retreat next week. I leave on Sunday. Like I've taught classes and stuff, but it's my first come to an Not So Fun retreat. And I'm teaching this pattern, but it's also they're square up blocks. So like it just, everything goes right.
Do you ever teach like a long arming retreat?
So I teach, yes and no. I do long arm classes.
Yeah.
So they're not, it depends on what the shops are doing and stuff. So I am doing like 5 days in Pennsylvania, where it's going to be like the first 3 days are like, you have a long arm, come take some kind of advanced classes. That's what I like to do. Like I love teaching newbies. I love teaching somebody who's never touched a long arm and showing them how fun it is, how easy it can be. They don't have to be perfect, get a computer. But also like you just move it. We all can, I always say we all can draw a circle. You just have to move your arms in a circle and not think that you can't do it. But like that will have some advanced classes. So we're going to do some advanced ruler classes, some, more dive in deeper into free motion and feathers and things like that. But most of the time when I teach, it's like, get to learn this machine, like newbies kind of stuff.
I don't know if you know this, but it's one of my goals to get a long arm. I have very little exposure to them. When I worked for SVP, FOF still had long arms, and then about a year and a half into my career with them, they opted to like stop selling long arms. And so then they all went away from the office, so they weren't in the hallways anymore to like go up to and just play with, because there was always fabric on them and you could just go play. And I that was like my only exposure to them. So I have all these quilt tops ready to be quilted. And I some of my big ones, I'm like, I really feel like they need to be done justice on a long arm. So I'm saving these quilt tops, but I'm like, oh, one day I'm going to get one. It's just on my list. It's really been an itch that I've been trying to scratch. And so that's why I was so excited to talk to you about long arming, because I think it's intimidating to get into, but I think once you start to have that itch of like that little voice, or maybe the little Adam in the back of your head or sitting on your shoulder telling you like you should try this, or Ben, right? Then I should just jump in and do it. But it's on my list.
Ben is so good at feathers. It's like really the only long arm thing he can do, but he can make a feather.
Yeah.
And so he has a quilt that he did feathers on, and I'm like, that's the one design people can't do. And like, you got this down. Everything else, like you can do it for me. Luckily he's a Gemini and doesn't finish things. So I like that, because he does very intricate patterns. For people who are looking at long arms or looking into like wanting to get into it, find a class. There are lots of classes around. Find a class and then ask a lot of questions. I think that's the other thing that people just don't want to feel dumb. Is like being back in school, and it's not dumb. Again, I think everyone should have a long arm. I work for Bernina now, and so you should have a Bernina long arm. But really, you should have any long arm that works and fits for you. So ask questions. What do you get? How are you going to be educated? Do you get support after the fact? Because if you're not getting support, then you're on the island alone, and you don't want to be on the island alone. If you're at a shop and they're doing a class, that means somebody there probably knows what they're doing. Yeah. And ask like who's going to.
Or they've invited Adam to come teach you.
Or they're putting in money and bringing people in. And like, I love being part of a team. Like Adam So Fun is great, but I love being part of an education team. And so there are 20 people on the Bernina events team that travel around and teach serger classes or embroidery classes or long arm classes and stuff. And like, just like with the other brands, like, there's those things out there. You have to be willing to take that step and look for them. I think that happens a lot. Well, I'll get messages like, well, where are the classes around me? It's like, that's what Google's for. Google it. Like, they're definitely out there. Or people are like, well, I wish I would have known that you were going to be here. I'm like, well, I've been talking about it for 3 months. So like, people have, I guess that's my little thing. Yeah, you also have to make the effort. I will put in the time I can, but like everybody has to. But there are definitely places to go out and learn, or even at quilt shows. There's always long arm classes there.
I will say quilt shows are a great way to get exposed to a lot at once, and then kind of learn, because I think some people just don't realize how many options there are out there.
Right.
From machines to thread types or brands to fabric lines. Like there's books, there's so many different things, notions and tools. There's so much out there that if you don't put yourself in it, you're never going to learn about it. Right. So that's why I always encourage people to go to expos or quilt shows or whatever when you can. Sure. And then once you kind of figure out like, oh, like that really interests me, then you can go home and Google and dive in a little deeper, right? And take that initiative and find a shop near you or near somewhere you're going to be, so you can dive in further. But it definitely takes some. You've got to be willing to put in a little work to find those resources.
I would love when people came to the quilt show and they had their their list of questions, and they were going to every brand. And I'm like, please shop around. I will help you make the best decision for you. Cause I'm also not the person who's like, oh, I have the biggest and the best one. You should also have that. Definitely not. Like you have machines that are going to fit you and what you're going to do and your lifestyle. So they would often ask questions, and then I would go, and now it's my turn to ask you questions and drive them to the right ones. And, you know, there's really great retailers out there in every brand. And, you're lucky if you can find one. I had a woman who told me she wanted to buy the most expensive machine one time, and the retailer told her no. And she was like, I want that one, and he won't let me. And I'm like, well, that's weird. That doesn't sound like him. And I said, did he give you a reason? She goes, yeah, I have little short arms. So she wouldn't be able to reach the back. And then she's like, look at all my stuff. And everything said Grandma T-Rex arms. And like, that's what the whole family called her. So she had stickers and like fusibles and stuff. And I said, now that's somebody who really cares about you, because you could have spent another $15,000 with him. And he told you no, because this one's going to fit you better. And those are the people you want to work for.
We always wrap up with a "you love to see it," which is our fun way of ending an episode on a positive, which it's always a positive, hanging out with you, Adam. So I would like to go first, if that's okay. Normally I don't, but I would like to go first and share my "you love to see it." And it is this right here, like getting to meet sewing friends halfway around the world, like literally meeting in Sydney, Australia. I went by myself. Was my first international trip, and using my passport, and I was really scared, but I didn't show that I was scared. Like I have to like keep that down, so it doesn't get the best of me, but I did it all by myself, and I show up, and then I met amazing people like you and Ben and everybody else that was there. And I just felt right at home, even though I couldn't have been further from home. And, even like I booked some days after the event to stay a little longer, like you guys did too. And I like was by myself, and I was like a little nervous about exploring a city in a country I've never been in. But then like we connected, and we got to spend time together even after the event. And I just have to say that meant the world to me. And I am just so grateful for you and Ben, kind of making me feel at home, even when I wasn't even anywhere close to home. And I probably didn't realize how far outside of my bubble I really was, but that meant a lot to me, and it made me feel like I belonged. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh, well, we really enjoyed spending time with you. We had so much fun. And it is crazy that, 5 months ago we were in Australia teaching 200 people.
I know.
Right?
I know. And that's where we met, even though we're both from the US. Just never know. And that's what's really cool about our podcast and what we do in the industry. It goes beyond just borders. It goes beyond different countries and different even languages. And I think that is something that will always bring us together near and far. And when we have listeners from all over the world, which is really cool. And to the fact that we're able to resonate with them on this topic, it just shows how universal sewing can be. And I love to see it.
I love to see it. It has nothing to do with like anything, but in a year I'm going to be at the Birmingham show.
I know.
I put it in it's in the universe. It's going to happen. And if you two want to come, we can go. We can all go. Like Ben is a planner of trips, and I told my friends, I said, is this a husband thing too? And they both said like ours probably won't go, but Ben would enjoy it, and so great. Now he is on it.
Audra and I can be each other's plus one. We'll go with each other.
Yeah.
And tag along happily.
Yeah. And so even last night he goes like, now like we're serious on this, right? I said, oh, we're going. We want a 2026 trip anyway. So like, let's just plan it. So that's super excited. I just finished, I'm finishing the videos that I lost the sound to, but new machine, new techniques, and I'm just excited to expose more people to something that they might not have tried, but will go off and do.
Well, I'm going to keep on the international trend of You Love to See It. So we've had international, the first 2 months will be international as well. We know we talk about this. I've been learning Italian for a couple of years, and I started to do it live every day in my stories just because I was too scared to speak because I needed practice speaking. So thank you for all the people on the Instagram stories who watch me do my little daily Italian.
Every day.
But I actually got a message from someone who follows me in Italy and said how much she's enjoying my daily Italian, and she said I'm speaking really well. Yay. And she said she's actually going to be applying maybe some of what I'm doing to her learning of another language. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Like, I was really nervous to put myself out there, but I appreciate everybody's support. And it's cool that someone else is maybe going to take what I'm doing and putting themselves out there too.
Well, and to have someone who speaks Italian fluently as their first language compliment you on how you are progressing in your practice is a huge compliment too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go watch. That is so awesome.
It's every day. Every day I do something.
This is how dumb I am. You said Italian and I was thinking bonjour.
It's close.
I know, but if we only had more time, I have stories.
It's fine. We were when we were on our trip in May and we were abroad, I was in France, and every time I said yes, I kept saying "see," and I'm like, nope, wrong country, Audra. And then Dave's like, oh my God, and I'm like, I know, I feel so dumb. Like the French, I'm like, I don't want to look dumb in front of the French.
You're judging me.
I tried. I tried.
So funny. Well, we'll definitely have to have you back on, definitely to talk about threads too. But I mean, if we all end up in the UK next year, we'll just film something from there too.
Oh,
and
yeah, right.
I think that would be really fun too. That works for me. It's a write-off when you put work and business into it, right?
I'm like, we are going to a quilt show. Like, definitely.
I mean, yeah.
I will go to Liberty of London and buy fabric. Absolutely
Done.
a write-off.
Check.
Done.
This has been so much fun. We really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us.
Yes,
and I
thank
love
you.
learning so much more about you today too.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. I'm
Good.
like, SEW. So dumb.
SEW is so much fun. Well, next week's episode, we have another guest. We have back-to-back guest episodes. We have the incredibly talented in the foundation paper piecing arena, Varushka Zarate from Pride and Joy Quilting is our guest next week. Look at Adam gasps.
I was like, can I come back?
I come back. So we are so excited to chat with Varushka, and we thank you so much for watching or listening, and we would love for you to follow us on YouTube, send us a DM, join the group on Facebook, join Bethany and I on Instagram. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening, and happy sewing.